All right, we're back on the Radio Gazette Hour of us talking with Chris and John and Chris.
Eloquent.
I'm working on the title. It's a working title. It's a working title. All right, we have a special guest, David Gunther from J. David Custom Clothiers at the mall. All right, so Chris had asked you a question before our break. Why Santa Clarita for so long?
Well, number one, I love the area. It feels like home, even though I don't live in the area. I drive in every day and have for over 30 years. Just stay out of the area because we live close to family.
Right.
But anyways, it's my spot, and I will tell you the quick story why I will never leave, even though we may open up another store or two, which are kind of on the horizon, it looks like. We won't ever leave Santa Clarita as long as I own this company. In 2008, I had gotten real sick, and when that happened, I was out of the store for a lot of a year, and the Santa Clarita Valley absolutely took us under their wing while I was out of the store, and I just won't ever forget it. So as an example, I had a Fortune 500 company executive when I was gone and in the hospital who came to the store and offered to hand deliver anything that we needed delivered to clients down in Los Angeles. He would deliver them in his personal car on his way to work. This is a Fortune 500 executive.
Wow.
I won't ever forget it, and period. So
yeah, that's
I'm Santa Clarita for life.
That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
Hey, so David, about a year ago, maybe a little more than that, you told me about a foundation, and I think we started because we were looking at some baseball hats in your store.
Yes.
And hit on that, if you would.
Well, the biggest thing that I've ever done in my life is a clothing line that we've come out with. It's called 25 by J. David. And a lot of Santa Clarita people or your listeners will recognize the name David Stroud. David Stroud was a client with his dad, Dan, a client of mine for many years. I knew David as he was growing up. He was a Valencia High School junior basketball player, potential D1 scholarship athlete. And after practice for a week, he was lethargic, and his parents took him to the hospital thinking he was going to have mono or something like that, and he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And he and I actually were sick at the same time, and so he would come in the store after treatments, and I finally came back after mine, and we'd look at each other and said, "Man, you look like crap," and he'd say, "You look like crap," and we'd hug, and that was the way we kind of bonded through a very emotional time for both of us physically. So to take that through towards the end of his life, he passed away a couple of years ago. And one very poignant day was when Blake Griffin from the Clippers, who's a client of ours, David was such a big basketball fan, and he was in his, end of life. And I asked Blake if he would go with me to Children's Hospital to see David, and he did. Blake spent 3 hours with David and his family and friends that day. I won't ever forget it.
Oh, how could you? That's amazing.
It was incredible. And as we were leaving his room, David gave me a hug, David Stroud. Gave me a hug and said, "I just don't want to be forgotten." And 2 days later, I'll try to cut this story real short. 2 days later, I was driving home. David loved to wear dress clothes. He would wear ties. He asked for ties for his birthday from J. David. Now, this is a stud 17-year-old athlete that everybody loved, wearing J. David's ties because that's what he wanted.
You can't beat that.
So 2 days later, I was driving home on the freeway, and I thought of this idea of 25 by J. David. His basketball number was 25, and I pulled over to the side of the freeway and texted him and just asked him, "Hey, David, what's your favorite color?" Literally didn't even know if he was still alive or not, and all of a sudden he texted me back, "Bright neon lime green, why?" And I told him my idea of doing a clothing line in his honor, so the 25 is lime green, will always be lime green.
Always be lime green.
Did you ever ask him if he'd consider red?
Yeah. How about a nice blue?
Hey, it's lime green, baby. Anyway, so just to cut to the chase, we developed this clothing line in his honor, 25 by J. David's, and it has exploded with, started with hats, and now it's our custom clothing, the finest things that we make for local people and professional athletes and celebrities and TV and movie industry things. They come with this 25 by J. David's label on the inside, and it is, and we have a fragrance 25 by J. David Sport cologne that is absolutely incredible.
Wow, that's
and as it says on all those things, it is a promise fulfilled, and I won't ever forget it.
That's amazing.
As a resident of Santa Clarita and anywhere, even where I work in Beverly Hills, when you see a company open, when you see a business open, you realize the plan and the money and the time that goes into it, and you just want them to succeed. And in this day and age, that's not always the case. It's difficult. Even in Beverly Hills, you see restaurants open and close like doors. You can't even believe it. And to see the success that you've had, David, it's I almost take it personally.
Well, I think that's his story just now is the reason why, Chris.
Yeah, and it is.
It's
well,
not just
our success of our business, and really any business, in my opinion, and I tell this to people when I counsel them on business all the time, there are almost only two choices for you to be able to pursue your business. You're going to have to do one of two things. You are either going to have to give customer service like nobody else,
right,
or your other side is, or you have to give your product away for less money than anybody else charges, because there's no in between.
Exactly.
You either give it away and people shop online and then, I could get it at Amazon for $1.50 and you're $1.70, so you have to sell it for $1.40 to get their business. Or you give them customer service they can't get anywhere else. I don't care if you own a restaurant, a dry cleaners, a clothing store, or you'll run a radio station. It doesn't matter.
You're right.
It's either give your stuff away for free because you can't stand on your own with your product, or you give customer service like they will never get anywhere else. Yeah. There are no other ways to do it.
Well, customer service has certainly been your way of expertise, and it's been fantastic. And this is not. We did not have you on the phone to do a commercial for J. David's. That's
but
not the reason.
No, and I didn't intend. I hope it didn't come across that way.
No. But I want to say to Santa Clarita and everybody listening, if you need a special gift, if you're looking for something, it doesn't have to be Christmas. It's all year round. You want this guy helping you. He'll become your best friend in about 5 minutes, because that's the kind of guy this is. And also congratulations on your magazine layout that you did. I believe that was in the, what was it, Santa Clarita Business Journal?
It was the Business Journal, and I thought it was they just asked me a few questions. I thought it was just going to be a little blurb, and
it came
all of a sudden
much more than that. It's very impressive. So congratulations, and really, David, all your success. It's been fun to be a very, very small part of it.
We can't let him go yet.
We can't let him
He
go?
has not settled the debate.
Oh yeah, okay.
We've had this conversation for the last two breaks.
I'm ready.
We come to blows over this,
ready?
so you better have the right answer.
I'm looking at a new suit.
Okay.
Pleats or no pleats?
Right now, no pleats. Even though I'm a pleated front guy, I still wear pleats. But if you're buying a new suit now, I'd go 2-button coat, no pleats, have it fitted right, and you're good to go.
Okay. A year ago, pleats or no pleats?
A year ago, still pleats were 80-85% of things.
See,
I can't keep up with that.
No pleats, but it was a struggle to get there for a bit.
Maybe I'll wait a year and buy them when pleats are back in.
You know what I did? I towed the line exactly right down the middle. Pleats, no pleats. Love you guys.
There you go. way to balance that out. All right. Thank you. Go visit J. David at the mall.
Yeah. At the shops, right out there,
off of Macy's, right?
Off of Macy's, and it faces Valencia Boulevard.
All right. Thanks so much, David. We'll talk to you again, I'm sure.
Thanks, buddy.
Enjoy your day.
All right. You're listening to Gazette Radio, the Gazette Radio talk show. Better.
We're getting there.
With Chris and John and Chris on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station. We'll be right back. All right, you're back. We're back on the Gazette Talk Show. See, it's better.
It is.
With John and Chris on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station. Doug's going to come back and change everything.
The John and Chris part is fantastic.
I like that. That's
the
best part.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for our national correspondent. We have with us Robert Patrick Lewis. Robert, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get right to it, okay?
Yeah. All right, sounds good to me.
Great article in the Gazette this week. I completely agree with you. My brother was in procurement, and I know if you have a $1 million budget and you spend $750,000, your budget next year should be what? Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, at least that.
You don't want to. You can't. Oh no, your budget will now be $2 million. You'll ask for, right? Am I right, Robert?
Yeah, and that's, I got to tell you, that's the biggest part about me. You know, I was lucky enough, I finished my marketing degree before I went into the Army. So I was looking at all this stuff go on through the lens of a business guy, you know, and it just drove me absolutely insane because it goes against every mark of efficiency you can think of.
Yeah.
It does, but I'll tell you, there's businesses still, and I deal with these businesses and selling them entertainment daily, that we get calls starting in December going, we have to spend this money by the end of the year. We have to have a holiday party. What kind of artist can I get in the next, for $50,000, for $100,000? So we booked a lot of them in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and it's scary, and that's it's one of this disconnect, So when I worked for UCLA, I got a lot of training in lean management. When I worked for Raytheon, I got my Six Sigma stuff. And so, all this training and all the academic thought right now is going to efficiencies and process efficiency and saving money in the bottom dollar. But at the end of the day, the ground level troops, all the operatives within major businesses in America are still in this bureaucratic, so many lines of approval needed for budgeting and things like that it comes down to that in every piece of business in America. And it's just a waste.
Now, okay, let's take this to a different level. And the missions you did, okay, we don't have to get into details unless you want to. No, we won't get into details.
Oh, we want details.
No, we won't get into details because
I can tell you, but then I got to kill you. Yeah. So it's up to you guys.
Well, that's worth it. Go ahead. Kill John.
If you tell me, could you kill Chris? No. Was there ever a time when you felt that you were underfunded?
Well, no, that's the benefit of being in Special Forces. Okay. Number one, we're creative. We're selective for our creativity, our ability to think outside the box. They say a Green Beret can take over the world with nothing but some duct tape and a little bit of rope and a knife, because that's honestly there is a procurement process, and even though we have the fastest and we have the most money, it still is, we have a lot of high-profile Tier 1 missions where you have 10 minutes to get in the trucks and go get this guy.
Right.
And so no matter how good your procurement process, it's still not going to work. Now, that being said, next to my bed, every time I was in Afghanistan, Iraq, North Africa, wherever I was, I would have 5 different sets of body armor. One set for heavy, hey, I know we're going to go get into a 72-hour firefight. Right. One for a recon mission. One for low visibility, walking through a village with nothing but a gun underneath my robe. We had enough stuff to where we could be set for whatever we could, and we were better than the rest of the Army. But still, you had those things where you go, oh, geez, we need, 5-foot ladders to get into an airplane that are filled up with this specific type of stuff so don't make noise.
Right.
And there's still, you just can't get that kind of stuff fast enough.
Yeah, and that's what I was, it's great to talk about the budget. It's great to talk about all that stuff, but I think maybe we're looking at it upside down. Do you know what I mean? It's like maybe we should figure out what we need and then go get what we need, as opposed to we have all this money, let's go spend it.
Well, he just said all you need is duct tape.
Yeah.
And so when you look at just-in-time methodology within the business world, that's what it is. You order what you need when you're going to need it. But unfortunately, in military operations, and this is the difference between big conventional blue versus red, planning for the U.S. versus Russia, versus what we're right now doing, small unit tactics, where we're going through villages in Afghanistan and Iraq, where, yeah, it would be good to go, hey, we're going to need 30 Abrams tanks over the next 10 years. Right, but so as a part of 1st Lieutenant Special Forces Group, my job was to be quick reaction for anything on the Western Hemisphere, right? So anything that happened on the western side of the world, we got a phone call, be on the airstrip in an hour, we'll brief you on the plane.
Yeah, go.
And doesn't give you a lot of time to shop.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time to shop, so it was our job to be subject matter experts and go, well, we're going to need this amount of bullets no matter what. We're going to need these guns no matter what, but you can never truly be 100% ready for things where it's reactive in nature.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I sense the frustration in your article, and I echo it entirely. All right, the next one. And we have Chris here, who's an agent for William Morris Endeavor, or manager, whatever you want to call yourself. Agent, manager, whatever you want to be.
I call myself that because that's what I am.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Are you a space cowboy? That's what
whatever. Yeah, just call him sir. You never get away with it. The Sony thing, okay. Now, okay, Chris, big massive deal in the entertainment
Everybody
industry.
see George Clooney this morning on television?
George Clooney is now going, oh yeah, they should release the film, blah, 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 blah. It's, to me, and this is why I'm glad you're on the phone, Robert, that's an act of war. That was an attack on an American company, right? Am I missing something here?
Yeah, and so can I answer this? Because this is going to take me a couple minutes.
Yeah,
please.
Ready, go.
All right, so I really enjoy this because I get to put on both my hats as an MBA and look at this from the business side, and as a former special operator, and with all my experience in intelligence and geopolitics and global stuff. Number one, from the business side, this is a PR nightmare, right? So
absolutely. Sony
did this hoping that they wouldn't get some kind of large-scale attack, but the PR nightmare, the backlash that they're getting, being a special forces author, I'm very tied into a lot of the political community, people that are very pro-America. And I'm seeing all kinds of stuff all over all social media, just people saying boycott Sony altogether. I even saw a thing this morning, picture of a bald eagle in front of the American flag saying, America, home of the free until North Korea decides what movies I watch this Christmas.
Right.
So they did it to try and protect themselves, but the PR outfall and backlash is just hammering them. And so you got to look at it from the intelligence perspective. There's two main buckets that we have for intelligence operations. You have overt and you have covert. And this is the same with political as well.
Right, exactly.
Overt. We're already committing the extent of overt activities we can against North Korea. We have an embargo against them. We're doing everything economically. They're sanctioned. We got all this stuff. We can't do any more politically against North Korea than we're currently doing.
But wait a minute. Hang on. I'm going to take exception to that because I think our sanctions against places like Qatar and some of those other places are probably worse than North Korea.
I've landed in Qatar, so I've spent time in Qatar. We still have American bases there. We still spend money putting in their economy. So overtly, we may say that, but on the, it's not quite covert. It's kind of this gray area in the middle, but we're still giving money to their government to house our bases and things like that.
Okay. All right.
North Korea, we're not allowed to have any action with, but the big thing about the covert actions or any kind of military action, you got to think about, what's going to be the ramifications of this. So we know the entertainment industry has given a lot of money to the Democratic National Campaign. We know they gave a lot of money to Obama when he was fundraising. I worked in West L.A. whenever he would come visit around his campaign time. We know he spent a lot of money.
Right.
We also know a Raytheon missile costs over $100,000 a pop. Right. So at what point, if we do take any kind of overt action or covert action that results in military war, essentially, there's going to be a price tag going up. And somebody in the American populace is going to say, how much money is our price tag for these missiles and these soldiers' lives? Is that worth the amount of money Sony gives to the political campaign?
So as Obama said today, he's considering appropriate retaliation.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, is
but
that
in whose mind is that appropriate?
Yeah.
And so what is appropriate for me? I'm a meat-eating, gunpowder-sucking Green Beret. I say go get him. I say take him down. I said that a long time ago. But then again, the NBA part of me kind of takes over and goes, well, that's not really a good. That's kind of an over-escalation. But our tensions are kind of at that point where the wrong move, a mouse farting is going to set up war.
Yeah.
And can we afford that, not just in price tag, but in American lives? At a point where we're already engaged in Iraq and Africa and Afghanistan, and we have all these other things going. Hey, ISIS is still out there, right?
Yeah.
Can we afford to take on North Korea right now?
Over a really bad movie.
Yeah, over a really bad movie. And that's, again, what was the price tag on the movie? At the end of the day, there is an actuary somewhere right now running calculations going, how much did this movie cost? How much did they give to our political campaign? Yeah. How much is it going to cost to launch a salvo of missiles?
Exactly. All right, Robert, thanks for coming on. Hey, listen, Merry Christmas to you and your family. We will talk to you. We will talk to you again, I'm sure. Robert Patrick.
Thanks, Robert.
Hey, thank you, Chris.
Robert Patrick Lewis. Get his book. I want the new one when it comes out. The new one's coming out.
Yeah, well, it just got sent off for formatting, so it should be up on Kindle within the next week.
Awesome.
That's great.
I will download the book called The Pact, right?
Yeah, the new one is The Pact. The old one is Love Me When I'm Gone.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Robert. We'll talk to you again, I'm sure.
All right. Merry Christmas, guys.
Thanks. You're listening to Gazette Radio Hour with Chris, and I want to say Doug and John, but I'll go Chris and John. John and Chris. Doesn't matter on AM-1220.
Better and better.
KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station.